Hi, everyone. Welcome to Nutrition Around the World, the platform to share healthy, Instagram-worthy recipes. We are going with each other almost on bi-weekly basis. And through our chats, we have many nutritional tips, as well as we visit different countries virtually. So I'll start a little bit of introductions, and then we can dive in with the recipe with our guests for today. So in the start, I just want to acknowledge that today's chat is recorded. So attendants would have an access to it afterwards. You can access it at the Health Services website under Health Promotion. And we are posting everything, the recipe, directions, ingredients on our website. For previous chats, if you didn't attend those as well, everything is posted on the Health Services website. I'm just gonna introduce myself. I am Rose, and I am a health promotion and education coordinator with health services at Algonquin College. And I am so happy to have Mindy and Bruce Melry for today. So Bruce and Mindy, they met in early 20s in Santa Cruz in California and fell in love and raised a family together. Bruce is a plant-based nutrition advocate, and Mindy is an international fitness professional. Bruce joined Mindy's business, and together they have changed the landscape of the fitness and wellness industry. So you can learn more about Mindy and Bruce by visiting their website, which is onedaytowellness.org, which is one word, onedaytowellness.org. And you can connect with them on Instagram and their Facebook page. So welcome, Bruce and Mindy.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are excited.
I want a little piece of housekeeping. So everything we're going to make today has also been videotaped and recorded where we actually make it. We have on our website a recipe section. We have over, I think, 40 videotaped recipes of oil-free, plant-based, delicious, health-promoting food for free.
Awesome.
Yes.
On our website, onedaytowellness.org. We're a nonprofit organization, and we advocate for plant-based nutrition. We have educational partners. They are nutritionfacts.org, founded by Dr. Michael Greger, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine with Dr. Neil Bernard, the Academy of Lifestyle Medicine, which is a fairly new organization. College of Lifestyle, American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Sorry. And the Center for Nutrition Studies was founded by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, the father of plant-based nutrition. So we leverage our relationship with all of our educational partners, and that's where we get our content when we do lectures and presentations. But today we get to talk about where the rubber meets the road, the food.
The food. So Rose, if you could spotlight us, and I'll share all my stuff with everybody. So everyone
Should we get started?
I think.
Rose, you ready?
Are you ready, Rose?
Sounds awesome. We're just gonna introduce the introduction of the destination. So as Mindy will be doing with us lasagna, so I think you have guessed that we're traveling virtually to Italy. So as you see, my background is
Rose. You look great. You look like you're right there.
It's on my list to go. So it's Cinque Terre, which is a coastal area in Liguria, and it's the northwest of Italy. So as you see, those 5 villages are connected, and those were built on the steep landscape right up to the cliffs that overlook the sea. So the 5 villages are connected by paths and the trains and boats, but cars can reach them from the outside only. And it's through narrow mountain roads with great difficulty. So I think this is amazing place to go. And maybe also Mindy and Bruce can share some of their stories because they have visited Italy as well.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'm just going to give everybody a really quick assignment. Turn your computer off, go in and book a self-guided bike tour through Tuscany, 2 weeks, and quit your job, get on the plane and fly to Italy and take the 2-week bike tour and then come back home and figure out what you want to do. You'll be a better person for it.
Bruce and I, we went on a self-guided bike tour about 3 years ago, and we're actually, well, before COVID hit, we were actually going to do another bike tour through the rest of Tuscany that we didn't get to. Our 1 Day to Wellness 9-hour immersion program into whole food plant-based living, it stems from the work that Dan Buettner did with the Blue Zones. He and the National Geographic, they went to different pockets around the world, and they found people who lived immeasurably longer lives from the lifestyle choices that they made. They looked at all of the lifestyle choices and the dietary patterns and all of that, and then they collected all that data. And Sardinia, Italy actually is one of those blue zones where people live measurably longer lives. You're going to see a lot of male centurions. And one thing that struck us when we were in Italy is that the older population is so virile, is so fit. They're walking up and down hills. They're eating foods that naturally came out of the ground, that weren't processed, that mostly are whole food plant-based. Now, they do eat a little bit of oil, a little bit of fish from time to time. However, mostly it is whole food plant-based foods that they're eating. And
the traditional diet.
Correct. So we're
but
going.
Of course, now with the food industry pushing in with processed foods and that thread back, the tradition, like the village behind you, Rose, probably they have the traditional food supply of that village right there probably all came within a 10 to 20 square mile radius. So all the food was grown, whatever animals or fish they were eating, it all came from right there. And what most of us don't understand now is we have essentially globally wiped out these critical local food sources that grew up in the Mediterranean that keep populations healthy and alive. And we're now introducing an industrial system that doesn't do that anymore. So food is being imported from around the world. The majority of it is processed. The nutrients have been removed. We want to move back towards that traditional style of localized farming and local connection with the economy, the people, and the food. It's all one circle. And that's the tradition of that village right behind you there, I'm sure. And so that's where we want to head back. That's the path to health, to true health right there.
So when Bruce and I were traveling all over Italy, we would every single day go into the local grocery store and we would buy beans. They make, was it lima beans? Was it
cannelloni white beans are very popular. They come from Italy. Yeah, so like if you are in Ottawa and you go to the Quick Stop or whatever it is, right? You would see all this packaged food in there. And parts of Italy, you go into the Quick Stop and it's not a bunch of packaged garbage. It's all fresh produce from the local farmers, locally produced. So it's a different mindset, but it's threatened. It's being threatened. What we know is the healthiest way to eat is being threatened by industry and marketing. And we really want to get back to the roots. There's a lot. I don't have time to go into all the research now. I don't want to yak too much, but that is where we want to head. Local farming, local sources, and a local economic food system.
So this is what we do. We lecture on nutrition and wellness and environmental issues and all of that. We have a 501, as you said, Rose, C3 corporation, 1 Day to Wellness. We live in this fruit and vegetable covered RV. That's how passionate we are about delivering our message.
Oh, and I talked about our partners earlier, but there are our educational partners right there. And anybody that's watching right now, take a screen grab of that and
Yeah.
go to all of
Rose,
these web.
can you spotlight us? Is that possible? So you
You are in spot. So it's a speaker.
So every one of those organizations,
Let
you
me
guys,
see here.
every one of those organizations, they're all nonprofits. They don't take money from the food industry, from the pharmaceutical industry, or the supplement industry. They just provide pure scientific research as it relates to human nutrition. It is vitally important. You're not going to get the right information from, well, the Canadian government does a better job than the United States government in giving guidance on food.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that for sure. You guys are headed in the right direction. So go Canada.
There we go. Now we're spotlighted. Now we're spotlighted. Okay, so here
But all
it
of
is.
these organizations,
Everybody,
it's free. Everything is free.
That's our website. That's where we live. So you know, people now who live in a fruit and vegetable covered RV travel all over North America. We were supposed to be right now in Canada because the largest fitness conference is in Toronto every year, and it is called the
CanFit Pro. Yeah.
And we actually were at CanFit Pro this last weekend because we were presenting this last weekend. I'm going to give one more.
And we had a background of Toronto.
I know.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. There's our educational partners right there. So if you want to know anything about nutrition and evidence-based without industry influence or bias, you go to these partners.
And the information is out there, but you have to go get it yourself.
Now, before we dive into the lasagna and the pesto and the black bean brownies, I'm going to give a shameless plug. While Bruce and I were sequestered, sheltered in place, I finished my book. My book is called The Plant-Powered Penis. It's all about erectile function and dysfunction, and the foods that we eat every day have a huge impact on our vein chain. So if you're having erectile dysfunction, that could be an early sign of other things that are going to happen later on. That could be like atherosclerosis or a heart attack or whatever. But I'll tell you, erectile dysfunction is bad enough. So by eating the right foods, by thinking the right thoughts, by having the right relationship, you actually could do a number on your little Woody. So there you go. If anybody's embarrassed by that, don't be.
Well, it's really important. I mean, a lot of people do struggle with erectile dysfunction, especially as they get older. It's food. Mm-hmm. And you take the blue pill. If you have erectile dysfunction and you're struggling with that, you have much bigger issues that need to be addressed immediately. And in all likelihood, it's all reversible. Mm-hmm. And your health, your sexual function can come back 100%. It's the food.
And I have a whole recipe section in here as well. Also a fitness section because I am a fitness expert. I'm writing about penises. I don't know how that came about. But I do there's a lot of research and science to back everything up in this book. And hopefully it's on Amazon as well. Bruce wrote a book too.
I wrote a book called The Plant-Powered.
Because he couldn't let me one up.
A plant-powered approach to prostate cancer. And I was diagnosed with prostate cancer 10 years ago. It shocked me. I didn't know it. I dove in and did a lot of research about it. And I came to the conclusion that I probably brought on my own cancer through my own eating patterns for 50 years of my life. And the book is a pretty deep dive into the scientific research about prostate cancer and who does not get it. And it is primarily food. I've interviewed luminaries from around the world about cancer research. Anybody, if you know anyone that has cancer and is battling cancer, I would highly recommend the book. I'm struggling with prostate cancer, but the majority of the cancers that are diagnosed in North America are related to the food that we eat every single day, just like lung cancer is directly connected to cigarette smoking. And it's time that we all agree that was the case. So anyway, if you know someone struggling with cancer, it's a good book. I tell my story, my journey. I'm still battling prostate cancer, but I can tell you I'm here today because I was able to change my behavior and transition to eating a traditional Blue Zones diet. Correct. It does not include any animal food. So I had to make a complete shift because I was animal-centric, dairy-centric, junk food-centric. I was the poster child of how not to eat, and I did get cancer. And it does happen, and it can be prevented. The best thing to do is prevent it, but there's a lot of tools that you've already gotten that you can use to improve your outcome.
Mm-hmm. what we're going to do with how we're going to navigate this next 45 minutes with you. I'm going to outline how to make the meal, and Bruce is going to share with you.
Just sit here and look good on
He's going to share with
Zoom.
you why we chose the ingredients we chose and how they are beneficial to your health.
Before Mindy starts, I want to give one more caveat. I don't know how many people there are plant-based eaters or what's going on. And when we say plant-based, what we're talking about, this is not an all or nothing proposition, but we know there's direct correlation between consuming primarily animal foods, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, dementia, and every other chronic disease that we all end up with in North America, including Canada. The number one reasons our hospitals are filled up are not with COVID. It's because of people eating the wrong food, and the medical system does not have an answer for that. The medical system, if you are diagnosed with diabetes, is going to give you diabetic medication until you drop dead. If you have diabetes, in all likelihood, it can be completely reversed and maintained by a transition to eating a scientifically evidence-based diet to eliminate it. And that happens to be a whole food, plant-based diet without any added salt, oil, or sugar. And if you go to Italy, you'll have a wonderful opportunity to eat all of these foods that are available everywhere. That's what's so different, is that you go in and you go, like in Italy, you go and you buy 4 baked potatoes with nothing on it. Where can you go in Ottawa? Can you go to a gas station and buy 4 baked potatoes ready to eat with nothing added to it? I don't think, probably you can't. You certainly can't here in the United States. So a lot of good things they're doing in the Mediterranean, and we want to maintain those.
I want to have a sweet potato stand. That's what I want to do in my next life.
We're going to the farmer's market today. So
we are.
That's the other thing. Go to the farmer's market, spend more money on food. If you say this food is so expensive or fresh organic food is so expensive, I got news for you. Heart disease is extremely expensive. Cancer is horrifically expensive. Avoid it. Go to the plant kingdom and eat local organic plant-based foods. Now, Mindy.
On our list today, we have pesto, whole food plant-based pesto. We have lasagna. We have Bruce's killer salad dressing, and we have my for dessert or pre-workout snack or whatever. These are black bean brownies. They are to die for. I wish you could smell them through the screen. I will show you how to make these too. I always have these on hand, or I have my chickpea cookies on hand. And if you are going to CanFit Pro or happen to go to CanFit Pro, they're going to be on the list next month that we're going to cook with CanFit Pro. So let's dive right in, first of all, with lasagna.
Well, why'd you dive in with the brownies?
Well, because I wanted
dessert first.
I know it. Okay, these are whole wheat lasagna noodles. Now, we have shopped a lot in Canada, and you have Whole Foods, you have different organic grocery stores that you can go to, or you can just buy this on Amazon. Amazon has everything now because they are connected with Whole Foods. When I show you a brand, it does not mean that we are making any money on anything. We are a 501c3 corporation. We don't
take money from the food industry.
We don't take money from anything like that. We sell t-shirts. And we sell our 9-hour One Day to Wellness certification that actually is a home study course right now that I'll talk to you about at the end of the program. So Bruce, what you want to do is you want to cook these on the stove in a pot of water for about 10 minutes till they're al dente. Talk about pasta, because people are afraid of pasta.
Why are people afraid of pasta?
Because they think it's going to make them fat.
Why?
It's a carb.
There is no fat in this whole wheat pasta. And if you have people, this is the majority of people that are tuning in and trying to understand and get a better handle on nutrition are usually trying to lose weight. And unfortunately, carbohydrates have gotten a really bad rap without any science to back it up. The truth of the matter is, if you're trying to lose weight, the fat you eat is the fat that you wear. Meaning, you may be eating some processed carbohydrates, which I'm not giving a pat, like white bread, Wonder Bread, all these processed carbohydrates where all the fiber's been removed. These are not health foods, but these are not the primary culprit of people gaining weight. People are gaining weight because they're eating a lot of processed foods where the first, second, and third ingredient is soybean oil, olive oil, canola oil, and all of these other industrialized oils that they think are not health damaging, but it turns out they are. Fat has 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrate has 4. So I'm going to end my thing there. If you're trying to lose weight, you got to keep an eye on your fat.
So here's an example. So then while that is cooking.
Well, so I was going to talk about the pasta. Pasta, forget about pasta is not going to, buy whole grain. And the thing about pasta is when you eat pasta is really tight. All the molecules are packed tightly together. And so when you eat it, there's an enzyme in your mouth called amylase. That's the first thing that's going to hit it. It begins the digestive process of the pasta, right? Well, because that pasta is so tight, it takes a while for the amylase to begin to break down that carbohydrate. So you're not getting that big blast of sugar and the resulting insulin spike that would come along with it. So pasta has a more mediated sugar load in your body than if you were eating, let's say, white bread. White bread, the sugar is going to go up immediately, and your insulin, which you don't want to go up super high, is also going to go up high to drive all that sugar into your cells. So the bottom line is pasta, I'm not saying eat it every single day, but don't be afraid of it. If you're trying to lose weight, this pasta is awesome. Just eliminate any animal foods and oil that you might normally put in it and put another delicious plant-based substitute in there. And you're going to find that it's stunningly, it's better than any, this pasta is better than any pasta I've ever had.
Yeah.
And by the way, you guys, we never eat out. Here's another, I'm going to give you one more thing.
Okay.
Cook food at home. COVID's a great time to cook at home. Learn to cook at home. It's awesome. It's the only place you're going to be in control of the ingredients that go into your food. And if you go into a restaurant, what is the first ingredient they're putting in there? Oil. 100% processed fat without any nutrients and any fiber.
So this is it all done. So if you notice, I've got sauce with those noodles. Let's talk about the sauce really quick. When Bruce and I teach a cooking class, we teach how to make homemade sauce, which takes a lot of time. But a lot of people say, give me a shortcut. Give me a quick shortcut. So what I do is I take a jar of marinara sauce. However, this is not the jar of marinara sauce I use. I either use the Engine 2 company or I use the Whole Foods brand that says fat-free.
Can I interrupt? So there is Whole Foods where you guys live. Engine 2 was an exclusive product line, fat-free product line that they were carrying from a separate company. They no longer carry that product. And now Whole Foods, well, they've made their own. So they have a line of fat-free dressings and things like that.
So I pulled this out of my brother's. My brother we call him T-Bone Tim, because we're trying to help him with his diet. So anyway, so this looks really super healthy. But when you look on the side, you see oil is like the second or third ingredient, and then you also see chicken broth in here. I don't want those ingredients in. If I'm a whole food plant-based eater, I don't want those ingredients. So
and you would never even know there's processed chicken in this, but you would just grab it off the shelf. That's crazy.
Because never believe the front of the box of any processed food at all. Then I'm going to take, now here is the secret. You use this, well, not this one, but the fat-free one. And then you're going to take 2 small jars of tomato paste. That's going to make it all thick. Then with that, you're going to have, this is onion powder. This is garlic powder. You use oregano, you use smoked paprika, you use dill, you use any spices that you want to that will augment this. Then
spices and sauces are the key to a long-term successful healthy diet. And not salt, not oil, and not sugar. Spices and certain condiments.
For the cheese. Oh. This is what it looks like. We ate like all of it last night. It's cashew cheese.
Can I say something about cheese?
Yes.
Everybody loves cheese. I was addicted to cheese my whole life. I'm a cheese connoisseur.
Why? Why are people addicted to cheese?
Cheese, because it's delicious.
Well, it has something in it. It has something in it.
Cheese has, first of all, I'm going to bust everybody's bubble about cheese. Cheese is one of the worst foods you can eat. from a health perspective, because it has got more saturated fat, sodium, and casein, which is the cow's milk protein that has been directly linked to prostate cancer, breast cancer, and colon cancer through some of the largest epidemiological studies on the planet. And that's why, again, Canada's got this right. If you look at the Canadian plate now, it's practically a whole food plant-based plate, with the exception of a couple of, I guess, small pieces of bison coming from the center of the country. But the majority of the protein section of the plate is plant-based, with the option of putting animals in there. And guess what? For the first time, Canada removed dairy, all dairy, from its food or from its food plate, because the research is in you should not be eating milk from another animal. And it's a horrible problem that can be easily rectified by simply removing dairy from your diet. If there's nothing else that we would recommend from you today, it would be to ditch dairy right now. Follow your government's guidelines. They're telling you the truth. Dairy is dangerous. Don't eat it.
However,
when Bruce
and I lecture every weekend somewhere on the planet, that's the first thing people will say.
Well, I transitioned to eating this way.
Cheese.
I transitioned 10 years ago. I'm sorry, I interrupted. The last thing for me to give up.
Chatty Cathy
cheese.
Today.
I was like, oh, I'm a vegan, I'm whole food plant-based, but I go to Whole Foods on sample day, and I'm like, man, you go get the produce, I'm gonna get the other stuff, and I walk around the store popping cheese
like,
samples.
Where's Bruce? He's like eating all the cheese.
Segue, get away from dairy, you won't be disappointed.
Let me talk about cashew cheese. All right, we've been married almost 40 years. This is how it is every day. Okay, so you're gonna soak the cashews overnight. And if you cannot soak them overnight, you're going to put them in very, very hot water for about a half an hour. That'll do the trick. In a food processor, you're going to put a cup and a half of those cashews. You're also going to put a teaspoon of each of these. Garlic and onion powder.
Can you just put garlic and onion in there if you want to chop up garlic and onion?
No, it has to be the powder. It has to be.
It has to be.
Or it'll be too liquidy.
I agree, because it is delicious. Yeah, I don't make it, but I do eat it.
This is it. This is what you need for your cheese flavor. Nutritional yeast. Why is nutritional yeast so great, Bruce?
Well, nutritional yeast is a nice, remember I said it's all about spices and condiments. Well, here is a key condiment for those of you that want that cheesy flavor without all the saturated fat, without all the casein and all the salt and sodium and all the other problems that come with it. This is an awesome substitute. Now, I'm not going to tell you it tastes like a 12-year-old aged piece of brie cheese. However, if you're making, like for lasagna, you can cook and bake with it, and it gives a beautiful cheese flavor. Mindy, are you going to talk about the cheese you made?
Yeah.
You make this cheese, it's better than cheese. You don't need cheese. This stuff it tastes better.
But how is it nutritionally?
And so I want to say one other thing. Don't be, if you're moving in this direction or you're helping someone move in this direction, do not be afraid that you're going to be starved for flavor. The food is better.
Where does this come from?
Nutritional yeast is a fungi that is grown on strap molasses. So think of it as got a similar nutritional profile to any type of fungi or mushroom. So it's got a good B complex, it's got a lot of minerals in there, but most importantly, it eliminates the bad stuff that we don't want to be putting in our body.
Okay, so
while giving us
sauce,
the cheesy flavor.
Your pasta noodles are now al dente. You've got your sauce that you've created and made, and now you have your cashew cheese. Then what you do is you're going to layer it. If you can see, I put the sauce on the bottom, then one layer of the pasta, then one layer of the cheese. I repeat that 4 more times, and on the very tippy top, I just put the nutritional yeast on the top. I cook it in the oven.
And then it gets crispy.
Oh, it's so good. 30 minutes at 375. And we also use glass when we cook. Can you talk a little bit about cookware?
Yes, I can. But I want to talk about this lasagna again because I would
he
take
tried
a bite
to
of
eat
it
it
right
last
now.
night, and I said, stop it.
I want to give you guys a challenge for you, those of you who are not currently plant-based, who may be watching this now or later. The next time you're invited to a party and you do transition to being plant-based, and the person says, "Oh, but you don't eat like everybody else, so you might not feel comfortable," go, "No, of course, I love people, and as soon as I can rip this mask off my face and come to your house, I'm going to bring everybody this lasagna." And this is back in the day when we had parties and we talked to other people. Remember that? Bring this when that starts happening again. You watch, sit back and watch what happens. You bring this and a bowl of beautiful, fresh cut up fruit. It'll be the first thing to go every single time. It doesn't matter who the people are or what they are. Every human being tastes something and says, that's good for me. I want more of it. And it happens to be delicious because nature made the food delicious for us so that we would eat it.
And it's
not
more
coming
delicious
from a
than
factory.
regular.
The problem is we got factories and scientists that can make that will synthesize food-like products that taste that will blow your brain up with flavor, and that's where we go wrong.
Then to make it a double whammy, I put pesto on the top of it as well, or I intermix the pesto with it. Now, our children,
But pesto has a lot of cheese.
Growing up, I used Parmesan cheese and olive oil, and our kids loved it. When we went plant-based, first of all, our kids went nuts because they all came home to visit, and we had nothing that was a resemblance of our old selves at all.
What we fed them the whole time they
And
grew.
so they came home, and they actually immediately left because we didn't have any animal foods. However, this pesto is better than regular pesto. Here's what you do. You get fresh basil, fresh. You put it in a food processor. You just a big bunch of it. And this recipe is on our website. It is also in my book. So it's like a cup of that. Then pine nuts. Pine nuts look like this. Okay, now if you don't have pine nuts, these are very expensive. You can replace walnuts with pine nuts if you want to, but pine nuts are super
pine nuts with walnuts.
Yes,
what you're trying
fantastic. And then lemon. Oh, you know what? I forgot something. On with the cashew cheese, a 1/4 cup of lemon, freshly squeezed. And I want to show you.
Are you talking about pesto or
this
cashew
lemon,
cheese?
both of them, because I forgot for the cashew cheese. Yes, so both of them have lemon. This is my lemon squeezer. You just put it in there and you get all of the lemon juice out of it. Buy this.
Yeah, and another thing, you guys,
important.
again, go right to the source. Don't buy lemon juice in a bottle with preservatives in. Just go buy a bunch of lemons. They're not that expensive, and squeeze. It's such a phenomenal difference using fresh, unprocessed ingredients in your cooking. I can't tell you, and that'll make the difference between being delicious and being able to sustain eating this way, which Mindy and I have. We thrive on it. We'll never change our eating habits unless we continue to refine it more.
And then nutritional yeast in that as well. So if you go to our website, you'll see all of the measurements of it, but I really don't measure anymore because I cook so much. So it's like this much of basil, this much of nutritional yeast,
It's real helpful.
and this much of the pine nuts.
But so here's another tip.
And then you squeeze
do the same
lemon.
thing. Do not be intimidated. We have met so many people that are afraid to go in their kitchen and start cooking. Don't be afraid. Go in there and make it a train wreck. Make a mess, and if it doesn't taste good, throw it away and do it again and do it again and do it again. And I guarantee if you just do that every single day for 1 month during COVID when you're going to be home anyway, don't bring any other food into your house. Go buy fresh local produce, fresh ingredients, and make it all yourself with your kids. Let them make a mess too. Teach your children how to cook. There's no more important. You know what? This is the best opportunity for humanity on the planet because the kids that aren't in school, they should be in their kitchen learning how to cook healthy food that they are involved in. If your kids are involved in preparing the food and growing the food, they're hooked for life. And what better gift could you give to your children than giving them a gift of minimize or eliminating their chances of getting diabetes, heart disease, breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, dementia,
or just feeling,
and
a lot of you are students, and so you haven't been faced with any kind of illness at all, but you've probably been faced with, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're just tired because that's normal. Just you have a lull in your day. If you eat this way, we have found that there is no lull. We're just always up, which is pretty spectacular.
And the reason that is go ahead.
Yep.
I don't want to talk.
Okay. So you've now made your lasagna. You have now made your
Which,
pesto.
by the way, the lasagna will stay in your refrigerator and just continue
or you can freeze it.
from a flavor perspective to get better and better and better until about the fourth. Leave it in your refrigerator it just gets better and better and better with doing nothing.
Yeah. And you want to season it as you go along and taste it. Don't just put seasonings in and just hope for the best, because you can never unseason something, but you can season something more. So we always tell people, if you want a little salt, we don't usually put salt in our food because we're no SOS, no added salt, sugar, or fat primarily. But if it needs just a little bit to make it palatable for you, after the fact, after you've tasted, then.
So what we're saying is, if you're going to put salt on your food or sugar on your food or oil, we would recommend don't put any oil, any type of oil. It doesn't matter what, olive oil, avocado, they're all the same thing. But what was I going to say about not salt, oil, but salt? Yeah, just don't use it right up until you're sitting down right at the table. The reason we all exceed our recommended daily allowance of salt intake is because of packaged processed foods that we're picking up and putting in our mouths because we're in a big hurry. And guess what's in all of that processed food? No nutrition, no fiber, but tons of fat, tons of sugar, and tons of refined salt. And these are not what your body is designed to eat. Your body is designed to eat whole plant foods that contain these minerals, not to isolate them and then create a meal out of them.
Before we get into the black bean brownies, to also go with this beautiful meal, of course, is a salad, or Bruce and I steam greens. We not only steam greens for the beautiful greens, but we also love what comes from the greens, and that is the vegetable broth. We can just eat it, or you save it, and then you use it for a soup or a stew or whatever that is after the fact. Bruce has a killer salad dressing. This should be a staple in your kitchen. Apple cider vinegar or any type of balsamic vinegar, anything. Apple cider vinegar blunts the sugar load in anything else that you're eating. It is also wonderful for your metabolism. Can you talk a little bit about what your...
Most importantly, and what a lot of people don't know, all vinegars are generally very healthy. Italy is going to tell you all vinegar comes from Italy. In one town called Modena, I believe, is where they'll tell you if it doesn't come from Modena, Italy, it ain't balsamic. So don't even talk to me. That's what they'll tell you. But apple cider vinegar is a great vinegar to use. It, like Mindy said, it blunts the sugar load and how quickly your sugar levels go up in your blood after you eat any type of food. But more importantly is that there are some survival networks that are built into every single human being on this planet, and we don't know about it, but we're learning a lot about it now through epigenetics, which is understanding the higher level at the genetic, what happens in our bodies in the genetic level. It turns out that apple cider vinegar will activate your AMPK pathway. Your AMPK pathway is a survival network that ramps up certain enzymes called sirtuins that actually repair DNA. I'm going a little bit deeper here than maybe everybody wants to, but this is the real beauty of this apple cider vinegar is activating your AMPK survival network. Look it up. And I would also encourage everybody, you guys are all students, there is so much incredible research going on right now in the world of epigenetics and its relationship to food. Dr. David Sinclair, Harvard University, has written a book called Lifespan. I'd recommend everybody read it. And if you're focused on living a long and healthy life and maximizing your health span, meaning how good you feel, not only just how long you feel.
How long you feel.
How long you live, but how, you want to feel good. You don't want to just live a long time with a bag of pills. You want to live a long time and play with your dogs and your grandkids, right? So where was I going with that?
David Sinclair.
Oh, David Sinclair wrote the book Lifespan. It's an incredible book. It's all research-based. It's phenomenal. The one piece of advice, I'll cut to the chase of the book. The one piece of advice he gives to any human being that wants to live a longer and healthier life is eat less food.
Except for the lasagna that we're going to have tonight.
And so eating less food and fasting activates additional survival mechanisms and pathways in your body that repair DNA and allow you to live a longer and healthier life.
So with, you're noticing that I keep us on track.
What? That's good stuff.
It's such good stuff.
That's good stuff.
With the dressing, besides some kind of a vinegar, you guys in Canada are so lucky because you have this company, Kozliks, Kozliks. I have to buy this, and it cost me about $30 a jar to have it shipped into the United States. I love it. Balsamic and fig, garlic and honey. I mean, there's just so many different varieties.
Can I interrupt real quickly? Mustard, we talked about the key to sustaining a delicious, healthy, lifelong plant-based diet are the spice, the freshness of the food, spices and condiments. My go-to condiment for everything is Kozliks Canadian mustard because they make several different kinds. They're pure. There are no excess preservatives or anything else. And I mean, we should be sponsored by Kozliks mustard. But mustard is just, people don't think about that. You can cook with mustard. You can put it on everything. Get rid of the mayonnaise. Throw the go into your kitchen right now and throw out all the mayonnaise, every single bottle of oil you have in there that you were marketed to and told it was healthy and you needed to eat it. No, you don't.
And you don't need
Nature does not make oil. Oil does not rain from the sky. And there are not puddles of olive oil under olive trees in Italy where Rose is sitting right now.
Okay, so your job right now is to tell them in 1 minute how to make that killer salad dressing.
Killer salad dressing. It's killer. You just make it like you normally make salad dressing without the oil. Start with Bragg's liquid aminos or soy sauce. Now, Bragg's liquid amino is gluten-free. It's got a great amino acid profile, but soy sauce, I love soy sauce too. It's a little mild. Bragg's is a little milder than soy sauce, but still you can use either or unless you have a gluten sensitivity. You might want to avoid it. Also high in sodium. Both liquid aminos and soy sauce are high in sodium. So good umami flavor that comes along with it that you can get from the plant kingdom. But also you want to watch out for using too much sodium. So a couple tablespoons of that. A fresh lemon. Here again, don't use the lemon juice. Use a fresh lemon. Whole lemon, squeeze it right in there. Then a little bit, not this, by the way, this recipe is on our website, not this mustard because your head will explode, it is so hot. But Kozliks does make a balsamic and fig that's a sweet, it's not spicy. I like that for the salad dressing that I make. Where is the
and then crushed garlic?
Wait a minute. Where's the fancy balsamic?
I don't have that here. I just have this one.
Get it.
No, just.
But
we have 15 minutes.
Go to the bank, get a loan, go buy really good balsamic vinegar. Forget that. Buy really good everything that you put in your body. Spend all of your money on that food for you and your family, and make sure it's the freshest, most nutritious. You're not going to be, this is where you need to spend your money. Not on changing the oil of your new car, on food that you're putting in your children's mouths that are going to keep them well and alive. Wait a minute. So, okay, we've got lemon, we've got Bragg's liquid amino, a little, maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of wine, red wine, whatever you like, red wine or white wine in there. Fresh cut up garlic. I love fresh, and if you don't like garlic, maybe don't do this, but I love garlic. Garlic is super healthy. Chop it up, mix it up in there. And what am I forgetting? Maybe a little bit of dried basil you could put in there as a seasoning. I like to put smoked paprika on everything. So, and it always, I haven't found, there's a couple things I haven't found that ruin any food that just makes it all better. Basil's number 1. Dill. Smoked paprika. Dill is number 3. And what else? Sage. Oh my gosh, sage just adds so much flavor to everything. Go buy some black cumin too. Black cumin, you got high blood pressure, you're gonna, make your food taste delicious. Your blood pressure is gonna drop at the same time too. Amazing. Back to the salad dressing. So lemon, balsamic, really good balsamic. We paid $30 for this little bottle of balsamic. It's
from Italy.
From Italy. You want to eat deliciously, pay for it. And then you mix it all up. It'll sit in your refrigerator for 3 or 4 days. Like the lasagna, it gets better and better with the flavor profile as time goes along. And you can use it as a marinade when you're cooking because you're not cooking with oil anymore. You're using now this oil-free marinade that tastes better than
we take little potatoes, we cut them in half, and we put them in
so many great.
We put it in a baggie with all that with that marinade. So we
shake it up, let it marinate, and cut them in half.
Put on top of our sweet potatoes.
And again, if people have fear of potatoes, potatoes will never make you gain weight. Potatoes have sustained, potatoes, wheat, grains, and potatoes, complex carbohydrates, starchy foods have sustained humanity since we have been here. Don't be taken back. Don't be fooled by people telling you, oh, these foods that humanity has eaten since humanity has been here are now the problem. The problems only started, obesity and all the chronic diseases only started when we introduced industrialized processed foods that break the food apart and then try to put it back together again. That's where we've created our obesity and our chronic disease crisis. And it's easy to steer. Well, it's not easy because it's everywhere. It's ubiquitous. But once you have that knowledge and you can say, it's a simple thing, I'm not going to eat processed food. I'm going to steer more towards whole foods.
And I will bake at least,
and I don't mean the store, I mean whole
6
plant-based foods.
5 or 6 sweet potatoes at a time, and I'll just put it in the refrigerator, and then that will be our snack.
So this is your trip to Italy.
Are you ready?
One more thing. No, let's say here. If you just start eating like this, you're never going to want to eat anything again. Because we're both gourmets. Our hobby, you guys, is to go to the grocery store.
Your hobby is to talk on Zoom meetings. Okay, you have to
I'm
stop.
warming up.
You have to stop.
I'm done talking.
Okay.
There's nothing else I'm going to say. I'm going to the bathroom.
Are you really? Okay. Yay. I have you just to myself now. Black bean brownies. You're going to need 1 can of black beans. Now I would show you the can, but I used it to make the black beans last night. So 1 can of black beans. If it says added salt, you have to rinse it. Well, I would rinse it anyway. I would take the liquid out and then I would rinse it and then I would put that in the food processor. With that, you're going to use for the sweetener dates. I use dates, date powder, date paste. Dates are it for me for making any kind of sweet food. You're going to pit them, 1 cup of those with about 1/4 cup of water. That makes the paste, but I cook it, I make it right in the food processor along with all of the other ingredients. I just put all the ingredients in at once and it works really well. Then you're going to need, so that's 1 cup of that. Then you're going to need 1/4 cup of some kind of a nut butter. Bruce and I try to go as low fat as possible, even if it's naturally occurring fat. So for example, naturally occurring fat would be an avocado. We'll eat 1/2 cup avocado instead of the whole avocado. This is something that Bruce eats all the time because Bruce loves toast in the evening after he eats his dinner. So we were eating like maybe 1/2 jar a day, which is horrible.
Not true.
So we went to Portugal last year and we found
I was not eating 1/2 jar a day.
A lot of it. We found chestnuts. Chestnuts are only 10% fat. So what I do instead of buy this on a regular basis is I will buy this. I buy it by the case at Amazon. Wait a minute. And so what I do is I roast it in the oven. I put a little bit of water in the food processor with this and I make chestnut butter. Then it's only 10% fat. You put a 1/4 cup of that into your mixture to make your black bean brownies.
Can I have those
Not yet. Then baking powder, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of that. 1 to 2 teaspoons if you like pure vanilla. I put that in there as well. And then you're going to mix in cacao powder, 1/2 cup. Cacao powder is amazing and fantastic, and I'll have Bruce talk to you about that in 1 second, along with ground flaxseed. You want to have at least a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in your diet every single day. You want it ground because if you eat the whole, it'll come out the whole in the other hole. Okay, got that? So then you put it into the oven on parchment paper. Parchment paper looks like this. We do not use oil. We do not grease the pan beforehand. So if you put parchment paper on anything that you're cooking, even in the oven, if you are making, say, just vegetables in the oven or those wonderful potatoes that I said in the oven, you just put them on parchment paper and they will not stick. Then it's 375 for 30 to 35 minutes and it comes out looking like this. Look at that brownie.
Can I please comment on the brownie?
Yes. Okay, go.
These are so good. If if you go to the grocery store today, or even Quick Stop, and you go like, oh, look at those brownies wrapped up in cellophane, flip it over and look what's in it. Oil will be the first ingredient. It's fat, industrialized fat that's going to make you sick. These brownies they taste better. They're crispy on the outside, the way I like them, and they're chewy on the inside. They've got tons of chocolate flavor because of that cacao, but the cacao has little to no fat in it, but lots of antioxidants, which is a good thing. And
talk about beans, please.
Beans have. Forget the beef, drop beef, eat beans. If you're concerned about protein, I'm going to help you out. Stop. Don't worry about protein. Everybody eats too much protein. If you're worried about, I got to make sure I'm cramming enough protein, or an isolated nutrient in your body, you want to just head towards, we didn't have to do this for all of humanity, figure out what's the ratio of protein. We just ate the food naturally, and that's what nature wants us to do. You don't have to think about all the subcomponents of the food. Think about the whole food that you're eating and where it came from.
The people who live the longest, who are the healthiest, are not thinking about counting their macros. They're just eating food. They're just eating naturally. And what we think should be
moving all day naturally.
Yeah, and what we think should be moving all day is a good segue. What we think should be a macronutrient is fiber.
Yes,
we are
fiber
not getting
is a
enough
macronutrient.
fiber into our diet.
So if you're eating a lot of processed foods
and animal
products, both by definition processed foods, the first thing they do is remove the fiber. Animal foods, there was no fiber ever to begin with. So you've got probably the most critical component. I don't want to segue into a long scientific discussion here. There is tremendous research going on right now, and you guys know about this, with our gut biome, and the bacteria that grows in our intestinal system is one of the most powerful components of our immune system that there is. If you consistently eat processed foods and animal foods like I did for most of my life, you are feeding disease-promoting bacteria that resides in your large intestine. And there's there's more of those than there are of you.
But I want to talk about beans.
If you eat plant-based foods, healthy plant-based foods, you are cultivating an extremely healthy gut biome that creates short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate is the best example. These short-chain fatty acids have tremendous immunological and immune system modulation capabilities that keep you healthy. And this is happening, this research, you guys, it's happening today, like right now. Take the time to go do this research.
But wait a minute. People that are transitioning from beef to beans, they fart a lot.
So that's okay, because when what's happening, and the reason people fail with that is because they've got bacteria in their gut that's designed to metabolize animal foods. But we now know that choline and things like that come along with eggs and meat can actually be converted into something called TMAO that actually creates oxidation and atherosclerosis in your arteries and veins, as well as increase your risk of cancer. Beans are delicious, but so now if you stop eating those cows, now you're going to start introducing beans in there, you're introducing a whole new component to your gut biome system, and it's going to go, wait a minute, where's the cheeseburger? That's what I'm used to metabolizing, and it's going, what are all these beans? Well, that's what you should have been eating in the first place. So it takes a while for your body to transition the metabolism of the different components of the beans. Once that happens, you're fine. But you don't even have to deal with that because of this secret ingredient right here, ladies and gentlemen. It is a well-known Mexican spice called epazote. Epazote will eliminate your gas issue while making your beans taste like you're in the house of a 120-year-old Mexican grandmother making the most delicious food on the planet. This is the secret sauce. Put this in your mushrooms, put this in your rice, put this in your beans if you're trying to reduce the gas. I could care less about the gas. My body is used to that.
We live in a 32-foot RV. I care about the gas.
When you open this up, you smell it and you go, oh, it smells like dirt. And then you put it in your beans and the beans come out and they smell like Heaven.
So you just take these, you crush them up, and you just put a little bit into your beans while they are cooking. So I know this is not Mexican Day, it's Italian Day, but this is going to help you with your black bean brownies. If you are using dried beans. So if you use canned beans, well, that doesn't matter then.
And the thing about beans is, by the way, there's a video on our website called Bean Basics. And it goes, I spend like 15 minutes showing you how to really implement bean life. And you should, you've got, ditch the beef, bring in the beans. You're going to live longer. You're going to feel healthier. You're going to be happier if you do this. But give it some time. And if you're trying to transition to eating this way, from eating a traditional standard American or standard Canadian diet, and I've spent a lot of time in both places and they're essentially the same thing, you know, take the time. Don't give up. It can take up to 6 weeks to make the full transition of your metabolism to eating this way. If you can do that, you will never go back. And the last thing I'll say is make small changes in your diet, feel small results. If I'm going to remove the half and half, I might feel a little bit better. Eliminate dairy completely, throw everything out, you're going to feel it within a week. You're going to go, oh my gosh, that was a good move.
Okay, so we would love to take some questions if you have them. Our home study course is called One Day to Wellness. If you go
It's
to
awesome.
it's awesome. It's about 12 hours long. You get 4 CECs with CanFit Pro, if that matters to you. It is not only about evidence-based nutrition, but it's also about mindfulness, meditation, creating the work in, we call it, instead of the workout, and just navigating wellness overall, and then how to help and how to then to have an on-ramp for wherever you are in your leaning to the green, as we say.
And you guys in the educational community, you have such leverage and such, and maybe a lot of you are not even aware of the power that you have to influence the youth and steer this. As far as I'm concerned, this is the biggest problem we have on the planet right now. It's how human beings eat food and how we've gotten away from where we need to be, and bring it back. This is I don't want to say it's right. It is the right way to go, but people are going to say,
well,
stop,
for the
stop
environment,
lecturing.
for the animal.
I am speaking from experience, you guys. I ate the standard way of eating for 52 years. I was fat, I was sick, I was overweight. I transitioned. I feel fantastic. I feel better now than I did when I was 28 years old. And it's all because of the food I eat every single day. Minnie and I are going to go paddle 6 miles in the ocean today, then come back and run 4 miles on the beach, make some delicious brownies. Actually, we have to make anything because we're gonna eat all this food right here. Watch an episode of Breaking Bad, read a little bit of nutrition, go to bed, and do it all over again tomorrow. You can maintain your athletic performance into your, I'm 62, 62, 72, 82, 92, 102. But it's the food, you guys. It's 100% the food. You're not going to supplement your way to good health. It's all about what you feed you and your family every single day, and it's easy and it's delicious.
We would love you to take this course and then to do what we do. If you go to the checkout, you can get $50, that's American, $50 USD off of our home study course if you just use the word home study. And that's my plug for our course.
And Rose, please stay in touch with me. I want to introduce you to, there's a new program coming out. I can't talk about, from a very prestigious university for faculty and staff, not necessarily people that have a career in nutrition, but to help educate other individuals that have management and educational positions about the food system as it is today. It's phenomenal. I've reviewed this whole program, and it needs to go into every college on the planet. And so please reach out to me in a month and go, hey, Bruce, what's going on with that program you talked to me about? And I'll get you hooked up with some really good education.
Awesome. Actually, we have enjoyed it so much, the chat with you, and I love that you have spotted the light on many areas of nutrition that I feel even each of those need to extend on it and to build on it. So this is really a great opportunity to see nutrition from a different scope, I would say. And I love that you have connected the behavior of change to nutrition and lifestyle. So I think it's amazing. Like I have learned so much with you today, and I'm really happy that you were with us today. Thank you so much. And we really
Thank
appreciate
you.
the chat with you today. So as I have mentioned, Bruce and Mindy have a Facebook page, an email, and onedaytowellness.org. So if you want to learn more, just visit their pages and websites. For us, you can always have email us if you have a question or anything at hshealthypromotion@algonquincollege.com. And you can register in the new events through the Student Services webpage or events calendar. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy to be here with you today, and have a great, great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you.